So I'll just like take you through what I do. There are multiple ways of doing it, I guess, and if you can just share later, like how you do it, maybe I can make revisions in my own the way I do it. So the the tools that I use are basically these are the four major tools that I use. One is there's Google Drive, then the Zoom, and then email, any email client, and then WhatsApp. So the reason why I use these apps is there are actually four reasons. One is most students use mobile, and whenever they use multiple apps at the same time, there are glitches in the system, and their mobile sometimes hang, and they log out of the class. I mean, they get logged out of the class. So the second reason is therefore to reduce usage of multiple apps at the same time. And third reason is ease of access. So for the resources here and the live class, that is, which I take on Zoom, uh, both of these take up about, I guess, about 70 to 80% of the weekly class load. So all of the material here, including access to Zoom, is through Google Calendar. I'll show that later how I do it. And so the four reasons are that students use mobile phones, and they can't have multiple apps working at the same time, and hence to reduce usage of multiple apps simultaneously. And third, easy access. And fourth, the single entry point to access both resources and class, to make it basically less complicated. Now, there are multiple alternatives for each of these, which I think some people use. For example, Dropbox instead of resources. For live class, like some people use GeoMeet, some people use Facebook Live, and some people use, I guess, the uh, Google Hangouts and Google Meets. Another essential part that I sort of try to build, apart from the tools that I use, is to sort of learn as a community. So what this is basically an example of the entire class divided into four different teams. There is no order in this team, in the groups that are there. It's built in random, and so the point of having this learning community is basically, again, around four reasons. One is that learners have a comparatively better understanding of each other, because sometimes it's easier for them to share issues amongst each other than telling the teacher all the time. Then secondly, they don't have access to the same all the learners don't have access to the same set of resources. So some have slightly slower internet bandwidth, some have less reliable devices. So the point for them is to compensate for each other. So, for example, one person in here would have a better computer. One person would be better at noting down the points that are mentioned in class. So this sort of enables. This sort of reduces, which is my third point, communication gaps, because I found it very tough to make sure that all of them are at least in the same level when it comes to understanding what I'm trying to tell them. So this sort of reduces the communication gaps, because teams are supposed to communicate, and check up with each of their classmates, even between amongst the team members and across teams as well. And fourth, the larger sort of point where it enables peer learning and collaboration, which will probably help them in the long run if they go for, I mean, since lifelong education is an important part in most of our lives. So this is how the team is built. And then now I'll just take you to the through the tools. I'll talk about the before and after class, because the class is basically I use Zoom, so that you can use any other alternative software that is there. Now the before and after class, as I told in the first one, in order to reduce multiple entry points to get some to access resources and Zoom class URLs and all that, what I use is Google Calendar. Now, this is used for informing class timing, Zoom URL, confirming whether they're going to attend or not, uh, to access all the resources for the day, and to access the recording later after class. So the way it is, for example, this one on the left, this is an example of a before class calendar. So students generally use their Google Calendar app, and when they open it, this is in Japanese, but what it is it tells you the time when it is, and here in the second row you have how many people are going to attend and how many I have still not replied. For example, in my case, I have 17 students here, so 15 have said yes, they will attend, and 2 have not. This helps me with the attendance as well, because on Google Calendar, if you click on this, you have an option to copy this. So I just have a quick look at who has attended rather than going through them every day. And then this is just the description of the course here. The resource folder is given here. So if they click on this, I'll show you the Google Drive folder that I use. They get access to all classes, all folders in one from one point of access. Then an hour before the class starts, I put the Zoom meeting URL here with the passwords and all. This is different for each class, but I put it up about an hour or 2 hours before, so they know when they are supposed to check and access it at the point. Now, after class, this is a different class, but after the class is over, this is how it will look. One addition that I make is, for example, if you see here on the left, it's Zoom meeting URL, and on top, I've just added the recording file. So they can download the recording from this place if they want to. So what this basically does is reduce the entry point to all the resources and recordings and any other files that we have used. This reduced a lot of emails and WhatsApp messages. Initially, the previous semester, I used to send emails, WhatsApps, and the problem was that there were too many places from where the information was coming in, and since students have multiple courses, like 4 or 5 courses, for this semester, I sort of reduced it and shrunk it to this. This was because they gave me this feedback that it's better to put it all in one place rather than distribute it where it's hard to check where information is coming in. And the recording one, as I said, some students don't have good internet speeds. So the recording, I provide them video and audio. Video this is for a 90 minutes class. Is about 100 and by 90 minutes, I mean, this will be a 120, let's say it's a 2-hour class, then it's eventually it's down to 90 after breaks and certain places where you might not need the recording. And this is about 102 MB. So this is actually like watching a YouTube video of maybe a 10-minute YouTube video. And then even for, like, let's say if they want a lesser, like really, if they don't have really bad internet, if they have bad internet, they can go for this audio one. And they can look at the resources that are there, look at the PowerPoint, and then just cross-check this. So this will reduce the data load on their system. And I also provide the chat text. So in the Zoom, you have a chat box, and you can download it as a text file. So what we do is that if in case you can't access any of this video or audio, if you have a lot of sessions where there's a lot of discussion, I assign one person to type it in the chat box, what is being discussed, and another representative to talk about what they discussed in the team. So in that way, at least they'll get some. So the chat text is about maybe 10 KB. So anyone can download this chat text. So this is to assure that the lowest common denominator sort of gets access to a little bit, at least, of what class is going on. And next to the Google Drive part of it, the Google Drive it looks like this. So it has, these are the months of the first, for example, August, September, October, November. And then you have a student journal. I'll explain this later. So once you access this, they have access to the attendance. So I mark this based on the Google Calendar that you have there. So they can always check where they are in the attendance. Then here's a journal template, which goes in here. I'll talk about this later. And then you have the team, just if they forgot who their teammates are, they have it here. And the tools. So the students, I take one session on what we're going to use, how we're going to use, the same way, like right now, what I'm talking about. And then we discuss which is the better way to do it, and so on. So I'll just take you through one of the so if you open, for example, the August folder, let's say you will find things like this. You have the date and the month, and then the class numbers here. So how many classes have been done? And let's say if you open one of these files, you will find one thing definitely, the schedule of what happened on that day. Now, this schedule file, I upload it about an hour before class. I'll show you how a schedule file looks like. It's it basically, the reason for keeping the schedule is because they can just quickly see what is going to happen at each point of time. And there are times when students, let's say, they can't log in at 10 o'clock when the class starts, but they would want to come in at 10:30. But when they come in, they are I mean, obviously they won't be aware of where we are in class, and that sort of disrupts the flow of the class. So one way I thought of doing it is to have a schedule, and this sort of helps because they can come in at any time. And so this is where, they can know what we are going to do in each of it. So I'll just tell them, okay, we'll decide the journal in charge here. So even if a student comes in at around, let's say, 9:50, they'll know where we are in the class. So this is how this schedule is uploaded an hour before, and this will help even when, for example, when you're looking at the recording, you can just look at it. If you have a 1 hour recording, you can just look at it. And if you want to hear this part, for example, your internet got cut off at this point, you can just go there and look at it. So that part of the class. Now to the student journal, and when I use email, I rarely use WhatsApp this semester, because I've realized that once you have all the information access in Google Calendar and the schedule in Google Drive and resources here, I have rarely used it now, which is earlier I used to use a lot when I did not have the single entry point to access all the information. Now, for the journal, which is eventually uploaded in the Google Drive, the template, as I showed you earlier, is available on the drive. The journal is one way for me to sort of check whether whether the student representative who's writing the journal has understood what was done in class, and secondly, to make sure that uh, the information that the student has is passed on to other teams as well. So the student basically has to write the name here, class number, and the topic date, and then write it over here. So this is one way of the way I give feedback as well. So I've been using emails just actually to give journal submission feedbacks, and by this feedback, it's actually a feedback of the class as well. So one of the things I try to do is to sort of tell them different ways of taking notes. For example, this email is about, okay, why don't you try? The content was okay, but then I was like, okay, why don't you summarize it this way? And such kind of feedback. Then there are times when I've also tried peer feedback mechanisms. So for example, I'll tell you, okay, you have got this correct, but then I asked these three people, can they help? Can you help them? Can you help this person do, for example, can you improve the language in this? Or can you check the facts in this? Or can you change the formatting in this? And they do help out immediately. And within a day, we get, sometimes they give better feedbacks than me. Sometimes, especially like if it's formatting or if it's improving the language sometimes, and sometimes even facts which I've missed out, which I forgot to tell in the class, but then they might figure out something and then they might add it into it. And eventually when they send these journals as email. So they send it, and then I upload it in the folder. So this generally is done, for example, if today I have class, they do it by the end of the day, or by the next day morning, and then they send it, and then it's uploaded there. So this is how the journal looks like. So each person has written their entry there. And this is also what I've seen is also easy for, to review the entire set of classes. So if you are going to go for an NSEM, just the topic itself that the students have written sort of gives you an idea of what their understanding is, and for them as well to just go through the entire thing. So this is again in the Google Drive student journal folder. So yeah, so this is how sort of I've been working with my students in this semester. And yeah, so Yeah, so the main point was that, reducing the number of apps, providing easy point of access, and at the same time building a community that can sort of learn, help each other out, compensate for each other's, let's say, lack of hardware that they have, uh, and try to, get somehow to manage to learn during this COVID-19.